Hi, and welcome to our podcast, Shockers Learning Out Loud.
I'm your host, Dr. Amber Anderson.
And I'm your host, Dr. Pam O'Neill.
Join us as we discuss everything online and adult learning.
And 3, 2,
Two,
1.
one.
Welcome back, everybody. We're so excited to be here. We've been doing this now for what?
Two semesters.
2 semesters. And
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it is, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday.
Yes. And
We totally know what day it is.
we're not making this up as we go along. So today we have with us Colleen Beckley. Colleen, can you
Colleen.
go ahead and tell us a few things about yourself?
What are you majoring in and things like that?
Okay. I am majoring in human resource management and will have my degree May of 2024. Right. And I've also started in the dual accelerated program for my master's with WSU as well.
Oh, sweet.
So on top of that, I work a full-time job, 40 hours a week. Have 3 teenage kids and a husband, so life's a little busy.
Speaking of 40 hours a week, is there anything else about you that our audience should know?
I love to do things outdoors. I read all the time.
Okay.
And I love volunteering and helping others.
Sweet. Nice. So one thing that we just asked you about before we started was your age. Sometimes that's a sensitive subject, but it's all something that we like to talk about because we're proud of it here.
No, I'm proud of my age. I'm 40 years old, so
Awesome.
For the record, I'm 43. Pam, go.
I'm 52. No, I am. I'm very proud that I've been able to make it to 52.
right. Well, and I just turned 40, so that's kind of a milestone.
It is.
in
It
itself,
is.
So
Yeah.
Did you do anything cool? I tried to. I'm going to try to mark my 40 and 50.
I really didn't with my schedule. My birthday's in September, so with my schedule,
Yeah.
it was kind of busy. But
Yeah.
maybe for
Get
my
that.
50th, I'll reach out for that.
Funny story about turning 50. When I turned 50, it was, it was Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day, and of course the pandemic had blown up again.
Aw.
And so I went down to my parents' farm and fished because it was very nice. And Mom made me up a little tray, and I took it down there, and I was fishing. I was
That's
eating.
awesome.
And that was your day.
That was my day, and that's what marked my 50th. It might not be what everybody enjoys, but
It was memorable to you, though. That's what
very
matters.
memorable. Yeah. So we've been talking about age for a little bit, but how long has it been since you've had like any formal education then?
I received my associate's degree from Butler Community College in 2004.
Okay.
So I returned to school 17 years later. Some
What have
people
you
think
noticed?
I'm crazy.
No, we don't.
We don't. But yeah, I totally get that. So what's the biggest thing you think you've noticed? The biggest change from 17 years?
That's a really good question. So, the biggest change in 17 years is probably how classes are performed. When I was getting my degree in 2004, I took a few online classes,
Right.
but everything was traditional in classroom. There wasn't really a choice to have all online. And that was one of the motivating factors for going back to school, was because I was working a 40-hour job and had kids. I needed something that was a little more flexible.
Yeah.
And so the online course schedule actually fulfilled that.
Right. I think that's so important. A lot of our adult learners have to do education online, and they're very grateful
Yes,
for it
very
as
much.
well.
I wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And
You're not the first person I've heard say that.
yeah, Carolyn Spear, who we had on here a couple episodes ago, she said, some people talk about how difficult it can be. She said, but if you can fall in love online, you can get your degree
That's
online.
so
And
That
true.
is true.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
true.
I like hearing that.
Yeah. I didn't have to worry about that. I married the boy next door, so
Yes.
Oh,
boy next
nice.
door and high school sweetheart. So
Oh, I always like hearing those.
So, speaking of husband and family and like your inner circle, who would you say is your support system for the HRM program?
really, it's my husband, my children. So like I said, I've got 3 teenagers, but they have all been super supportive about going back to school, getting my degree. Besides that, it would be, my parents and even my in-laws. A lot of people don't have a great relationship with theirs, but I do. I love my in-laws so
Awesome.
much.
Oh, good.
And, So, you know, they've been a great help and a great support. And I'm going to say also my employer. So one of the reasons I switched jobs during the pandemic, which is big no-no, but part of the reason behind that was because of their education assistance program.
Right.
And it allowed me to get back into college. And so they have been a huge supporter. My direct supervisors have told me, you know, if I needed to take a class in person, then they would
They
work
work
around my
with you.
schedule.
Wow.
And
Wow.
everything. I mean, so it was a great change from where I had been for 14 and a half years, which was also a great employer, but they just didn't have those opportunities. So
There's resources available
Yeah.
for you. So,
Yep.
big shout out to your employer. Go
Kansas
ahead.
Turnpike Authority.
All right. So forever riding on the turnpike, I think a lot of us go, we can think of you and
Right.
go, all right, this is
Yes.
part of where maybe our tax dollars are going, and I'm all for that.
Right.
It's pretty amazing to have such a supportive team because we've had students that I just blanked.
So that's all right.
Their employer was the opposite of your employer, and they ended up actually coming back to school because their employer was overlooking them and were not so flexible with the schedule. So
So why did you come back to school then?
So I've worked as an administrative assistant in law enforcement for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
And a lot of what my job entails is assisting the Human Resource Department in their functions.
Okay.
Before I was with the Kansas Turnpike, I was with the City of Augusta, and their law enforcement is in a separate facility from their human resources and everything. So I was kind of a lean on for their human resource manager. And I did a lot of the human resource functions for that department, such as onboarding, offboarding, recruitment, health insurance benefits, and getting all of those in, filling out the forms before they made that all digital. I did all of it.
Right.
So,
now you're getting the degree to actually go along with what you've been doing,
right,
right?
because what I found is a lot of places will not take you if you don't have a degree
Right.
that
Oh,
backs you
okay.
up. So,
Yeah.
trying to get into an actual human resource department.
So what will that look like? How will your job change after the degree?
You know, it's kind of up in the air right now. There's no
Yeah.
positions open with the Turnpike. You know, I'd love to move into their human resource department, but I've also had discussions with them about, you know, what the next 6 months is going to bring. You know, if there's not a position open, I'm going to go somewhere where there is so that I can start
Right.
actually working within the field.
Well,
Can
good.
I just tell you, don't worry about that because it'll fall into your lap.
Oh, well, and it's already started.
Yay!
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
already
yeah, yeah.
started. Something that I found amazing with Wichita State is even though I'm an all online learner, I've actually gotten pulled into groups
Right.
on
Nice.
campus, and so I actually come on campus. I'm on campus more than I ever thought I would be. So shout out to the Society for Human Resource Management group because they're the one that actually got that all started.
Right.
And they have allowed me to network in ways I never thought possible and meet new people and within my own field and outside of that. I've also seen opportunities open up that I didn't expect or wasn't looking for.
Right.
So
Correct. That's what happened to us.
Yeah, we always, and it's good to hear that it happens to online because, you know, in the classroom, I think it might be easier to just say, oh, they're always here, they're always asking questions, they're visible, they're right in
Yeah.
front of your face.
yes.
But let me ask you this then. So you've gotten all these opportunities. How did you hear about them? What was, you know, that you said, oh, I want to
Yeah.
do that?
How did
or,
you get hooked up with
So are you talking with Wichita State?
the
or-
groups?
Yeah,
with the
which
groups?
groups here at Wichita State?
So
yeah.
because I was a human resource management degree major, my president for SHRM actually reached out to me and said, hey, you know, we're getting this group back going and would like for you to be a part of that. Came to the welcome party, and that was that. You know, and then I'm also Tri Alpha Honor Society first gen, so I'll be the first one in my family to get a bachelor's degree.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Sweet.
So
yeah.
first gen, and then Beta Gamma Sigma International Honor Society. I'm a part of that group as well. So.
Wow.
Awesome. Wow, that's quite a bit. You mentioned SHRM. Is that SHRM?
Yeah,
and what is
Society
that?
for Human Resource Management.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Because I
so-
always hear these acronyms, and I always
Yes,
try
we
to
always
ask.
try to break them down because
There's
you
so
can get
many
lost.
of them. Yeah, the alphabet.
Well, and
so-
they're so interconnected with outside groups. So like the student chapter of Society for Human Resource Management is connected with the Wichita chapter.
Great.
Oh,
We
sure.
do a lot of things with the Wichita chapter, which gets you involved with human resource managers
Very
from
good.
all over different fields within the Wichita area.
So you're networking a lot, and getting
Yes.
those connections
Yes.
that are just, they're integral, I think,
Yeah.
to your
and if
success.
you would have asked me 10 years ago, I'd have been like,
What?
I don't know what is networking. I don't know how to do this. I'm the one
Yeah.
that stands back by the back wall.
Right.
If it's
yeah.
somebody I know, yeah, I'm Chatty Cathy. But
Yes.
trying to put yourself out there, that's the hard
It's
part.
difficult. I think it's even for me that I've been doing this for so many years, knowing anybody that's worked with me knows that I'm an introvert through and through. But you do, when you go and you put yourself out there, you find little connections that make a world of difference. So good for
Yes,
you for
yes.
doing that.
Well, and not only through Wichita State, but the Kansas Turnpike has offered me a lot of opportunities
Good.
as well. And so that really started my network journey.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of continued with Wichita State and
See, that's how it
continues
happens.
on. So,
Right.
yeah.
I'm first gen too,
Okay.
so
Yeah, I think most of us in this room are. I'm looking over at Russell, who does our recording, producer, editor,
hype
all the
girl, tech
The
guy.
important one.
right. Yeah. Shh, don't tell him that.
Sorry. My bad.
But I believe you're first gen too, right, Russell? And he's nodding his head. Yeah. All right. So you've talked about, I mean, and it is, as an adult learner, I know myself, all these positives, that so many times, and you said your kids are a support system. And if you look at the literature, they'll say sometimes that having children can be this like barrier. And what I found, and it sounds like you did too, is that
Motivator.
it's a motivator, it's a catalyst, it's a reason, it's all these things,
So
not a
only
barrier.
is it a motivator for me, it's a motivator for them because they've
Awesome.
Right.
seen me struggle
Yeah,
more than I think they've ever seen me struggle. Even like I almost broke my arm off, and I've struggled I think more with school than I have with some of my classes than I did with that.
yeah,
But it's a motivator for them.
Yeah.
To see, you can do things no matter how old you are,
Yeah.
where you're at in your life. You have the ability to make the change. You just have to be willing to make it.
yeah.
And so they also see that, they should probably get all their college done early
Yeah.
rather than later.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
so
they see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
they do. Well, and there's
Real
the
life.
positives, they are my motivators, but there's some negatives behind that too.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter who's 13, she has told me she misses me, and I'm not
Aw,
always
yeah.
there
Right.
when I'm there. And so that's something that I've really had to start working on is making sure that I'm
Blocking out the time
Right.
for them.
Yeah.
right.
But,
and when I go home that I'm home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you're not. But in May, you graduate, right?
Right.
And so you'll have
That's
that
what I
time
keep
for
telling her.
her,
I'm like,
right?
this is just a short period.
Yeah.
I said, and she'll be headed into high school. And I said, so
Oh,
I'll be
you're
done by
going-
the time she's going into high school.
And then
Good.
she won't remember you.
Right.
Yeah, and then she'll be like, "Mom, can you step out a little
Please.
step back a little
Please
bit?"
no, Mom.
She's already kind of started doing that. I'm like,
Aw, yeah.
so.
We do graduation photos, so I would love to have you and the kids on campus and do some graduation
Yeah,
photos
that would
in
be
May.
great.
It'd be
They'd love
fun.
to do that. My
And-
son will be attending WSU next year. So.
Yay! What's he studying? Do you know yet?
Engineering, so computer
wow.
science and cybersecurity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good. And quick plug, real while I can, we have graduation cords available for our adult learners. So calling not only you but any other adult learner that might be listening, think about that black and white cord, how awesome it looks on
Yeah.
our robes, and something to be very proud of.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah,
When I graduated, I got any cord I could.
yeah.
That's kind of,
Just so I
I
could
told my
look
husband,
cool.
I said,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to look like a trophy wall.
Yes.
By
It'll
the time I get
photograph
everything on, I need to
better.
figure out how I'm supposed to put all that on. So, yeah.
So, as a first generation student, what was your biggest and funniest fail? For me, it was taking too many classes and spending too much money and not knowing what I wanted to do. So I was lost for a year, and then I came back and I met with an advisor. It was kind of a messy go.
Right. So biggest and funniest was that I used to tout that I was like super good at math.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then I came back to school and I'm like, I suck. I don't remember anything. So that's probably my biggest and funniest. That's the biggest trial that I've had. Business Calc was my worst class. Oof.
I took
I
that
just
too.
wanted to pass. That's all I wanted to do, and I've never done that. I've been an A,
Yeah.
B student my whole life, and I was like, I just want to pass. I don't want to take this class again ever. So,
So did you pass?
I did pass.
did.
Yay!
So I did pass, but I was just like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. And when you're going to your kids and saying, how do I do this? I
Yeah.
don't remember how to do this. And so I was really reteaching myself math as I was trying to go through upper level math
Yeah.
Right.
because I haven't used it in so long.
You are not alone.
Right.
Not the first time I've heard that story from our
So
adult
that would be
learners,
my
so.
biggest suggestion for adult learners.
You came
is
in
take it-
confident.
I came in confident. And, woo, but that would be my biggest thing for adult learners is, it may behoove you to take a intro math class,
Yeah.
math algebra class to
Something free online or do
Right.
some review.
yeah, just to review before you start taking those, because some of it I was fine with, some of the classes, but that business calculus got me. Woo.
You know, for me, it was college algebra, and I got through. But if you know me, I'm not a crier, and I would sit there and cry. I would get so mad
You are
and
not a
just
crier.
so frustrated. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I've cried a tear since.
I feel you. I feel you. I would sit down in my office at home and just be like, why am I doing this again? It
Yes.
makes you rethink everything. I have to take this course,
Yeah.
is it worth it?
It challenges
But
your
was in the
core.
end. It
Yeah.
was. And even my parents, my dad approached me after the class and I had passed it. And he goes, I have never, ever seen you struggle that hard.
Oh.
Oh
And he
wow!
goes, but I saw strength in you I didn't know you had, and I know you're a strong person. So that was
my
amazing
God.
to watch. And I'm like, well, thank you, Dad, because I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I almost quit.
That's funny because when you're going through that, you do not feel strong
No, you
at all.
don't.
That's
You
your
feel
weakest. You
awkward
feel
and-
vulnerable and just out there. And it's sometimes when you're in that class with 18 to 21, 22-year-olds, and you see them, and it looks like they're getting it, and they're not having the struggles.
They're not
although I
having
think
these problems. Yeah,
I think
and
sometimes
that's-
they are.
That's part of the online struggle as well, because they, especially Wichita State, they have a lot of support groups,
Right.
but not necessarily for online.
Okay.
So what I ran into is that, you had to come to campus in order to go into those study groups and stuff like that. And
Gotcha.
the times that they were doing them were throughout the day. And like I said, I work, so
Right.
that didn't really function. And I asked them, because my work does allow me to do like Zoom and Microsoft Teams and stuff like that. I was like, can we jump on one of those? But that wasn't really an option at the time because, they're student led. So,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
so that was a struggle as well too, because I think that really would have helped me, because especially with the business calc and relearning all of the back end of that and how to simplify equations and stuff like that, that's where I really struggled. And so I think if I would have had maybe some of that assistance, it wouldn't have been quite as
For
bad.
math specifically, or for just like adult learners to come and have a space online?
I think for adult learners to come and have a space
For
online,
any
for
class.
any class, because
Yeah.
math
a good
was my
point.
struggle, but that doesn't mean that's going to be everybody's struggle.
Right.
So
Good idea.
If you could have some, even with the groups that are coming along and doing their study groups, sometimes you have an ability to jump on for 30 minutes or so.
Right.
And
During lunch or
Right.
during the afternoon. We try to catch you guys at times that you would be eating or driving home.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause
and
we
that's
know you're
kind of
all
this-
working.
Well, that's why we do this podcast too, is to tell those stories, because who has the time to sit down and read all this, especially when you're going to school.
Right.
But if you're like me, if I'm going home to see my parents 45 minutes away from there,
Podcast.
I can put on a podcast and
just listen.
Listen,
And
yeah.
try to figure out there's new avenues.
right for
Right.
learning. Yeah. So, you talked about all the good things that has happened and the wonderful things about being an adult learner and some of the challenges. But if you could go back and change anything, one thing, would you? And if so, what would it be? Or what would you have learned?
So if we're talking about in the last 3 years when I've been at WSU, I would have challenged myself a little bit more the first few semesters.
Okay.
I took it kind of easy because I didn't know, how jumping back in was
Yeah.
going to be.
Absolutely.
But I found my rhythm. So my rhythm was 2 16-week courses and 2 8-week courses that would back up against each other.
Yeah.
But it took me that whole year to figure
To
that out.
realize
So
it.
it was my next fall semester that I really got into the swing of things. That would have assisted me. I probably could have graduated December instead of May. But I really wish, I would have jumped.
Totally.
It's,
But
I
you
think
didn't
it-
know. You
right.
didn't know until you
don't,
lived
and
it.
it's the unknown, it's the change, and it's trying to get everybody to work together because even your family is going through change at that point,
Right.
So it's just figuring things out. So I would say maybe don't be so scared.
Yeah.
Don't be so
Right.
scared to jump in and and do more.
Yeah.
So, and that's not just on classes, that's with groups on campus. Get yourself on campus because you don't realize all of the opportunities and availabilities to meet people. And that's even Wichita State staff
Yeah.
Right.
and other students that you
Well,
are
that's-
disconnected when you're online.
That's how we met, right?
It is.
Yeah, you came in. I don't know what it was for. I don't even remember now. Yeah.
Right.
Were you lost or?
No,
No,
I
no.
think she
Crying?
had sent an email out inviting to come
Okay.
to the Grace Wilkie Annex for an adult learner.
Yeah, and I still send out
Something.
those monthly
Yeah, she
emails, and we send stuff out to our online learners as well. If it's just even like a small keychain or something like that,
Right.
we want to include our online learners in that kind of stuff. So if you're listening to this and you're a WSU adult learner or an online learner, get a hold of us because
Right.
we want to
Yes.
include
When you guys have so many different availabilities for
Yes.
people, whether it's printing or even a place to come do homework, and what?
free coffee.
Coffee and sometimes
Yum, yum.
snacks.
Yes, yeah.
And I've also found, the students on the campus are very welcoming.
Yes.
Doesn't matter your age.
Right.
So, that's, I've talked a lot about my involvement with SHRM, and I am the oldest person there,
Uh-huh.
but they don't treat me that way.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
but these are the people, and this is kind of how I've gone into it. These are the people I'm going to be working with.
Yes.
These are the people I'm going to be graduating with. I may have a little bit more knowledge than them because I've been in the business world for so long, but these are the people I'm going to be working with. So,
Well, we have 3, sometimes 4 student assistants, and most of the time they are your traditionally aged students. But what I found, they've been invaluable to our adult learners because they can teach them technology. They can help, how do I work with these younger people that I'm going to be working with once I get in there?
Right.
And they're just amazing. I like to have an adult learner as one of, our student assistants, but I tell you what, these traditional age kids are knocking it out of the park.
They are knocking it. And you know what? That has been one of my goals as I go into human resource management is bridging the gap between the generations.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of right there in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between the
right.
two. I have grown up with technology, but I didn't always have technology,
Yeah.
True.
so I'm right there in the middle. But even when we've had some of our guest speakers at SHRM and stuff, I've been able to take the younger group and the older group and see that they're talking about the same thing just in different
differently.
ways. And so they don't feel like they're talking about the same thing.
But they really are.
But they really
so.
are. And so that's been one of my goals as I move into human resources is to help bridge that gap so that we can function together because we can.
Yes, absolutely.
We can function together. So.
Oh, and when you find that groove, it makes everything so much easier.
Yes,
So,
I
yeah.
agree. And I work with people of all ages. So I work with
Oh, right.
right out
That's
of high
true.
school
Uh-huh.
all the way
Same.
up to retirement age.
So, yeah, you're working with Gen Z to, what's the one? Baby Boomer. Yeah.
Right, Baby
yeah, and
Boomer.
everything in between.
Yep.
Well, we're about out of time, but Amber, do you have any more questions that you want to ask? Or,
Well, we always ask you guys,
Oh, right.
what was your learning out loud moment? So was there ever a moment when you came back and it just clicked for you and you thought, okay, I'm going to make it?
I really think that was when I passed my math class. I'm like, if I can do this, I can do anything.
yeah.
But really, the professors here with online learning are a lot of the same professors that you have in the classroom.
True.
And
Yes.
so my aha moment was remembering that I can still ask questions, and that they're going to answer those.
Right.
You know, they're still there even though we're not face to face. And that really showed me I can do this, because I was worried. I was worried about coming to online when
Right.
I had been a traditional in-class person.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So it was business calc.
Business calc,
Oh, yeah.
love it and hate it. But at the same time,
Make or
Yeah,
break.
yeah, because it made you stronger and
Yeah.
gave you confidence.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens when you pass those difficult classes. You're like you just said, boy, if I can do that, if I can pass college algebra,
Got this.
I can get my doctorate.
I
Yeah.
haven't gone that far, but
It might
you know
happen.
what?
my master's
Full
baby.
disclosure. It sneaks up on you.
Yeah. Well, as we get ready to wrap up, I just wanted to say thank you for coming
Yes,
in and
thank
doing
you.
this. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, or anything we didn't ask that you wish we would have?
You know, just take all of the advantages that Wichita State gives you. That's, you know, they give the same advantages to adult learners as they do to their traditional learners. And take advantage of those. If I taught my kids anything, that's what it is. Take the opportunities when they come.
Yes.
You know, it's okay to say no to some of them, but
Right.
as they come along, really think about them and take them as they come, because you may not get that chance again.
Yeah. Don't be scared.
Right?
Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
We really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.